What up, Space Fam? Golden here from Anime Upper, and I'm back at it again to discuss the very hyped topic of Luffy's real bounty and how he is in fact right now the most wanted man of all time. This is huge hype stuff, so make sure to stay tuned for that. If you do enjoy seeing these One Piece videos like this one and want to keep them coming, channel the inner Pirate King within and smash that like button until you see fireworks. Be a smashing Pirate King rather than a passing Orochi, and the universe will reward you accordingly. Join the Nakama by subscribing and hitting that notification bell if you haven't already so you don't miss future One Piece videos, updates, and chapters, and let me know if you want to see these kinds of bounty videos for any other specific characters. Now it's time again to thank the one and only Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Fun fact, there are 7.5 billion humans in the world that could be playing Raid Shadow Legends right now, so why waste time? You might as well check it out right now. Raid is an awesome mobile game that just keeps growing and now has almost 700 champions for you to collect and fight with, including the cool new faction called the Sylvan Watchers. You like forest elves or scary yet cool looking tree spirits, then you'll love the Sylvan Watchers, who made their home in the Mistwood, a huge jungle in the east of Teleria. My favorite is the legendary Green Warden Ruark. His mask and armor are uber cool, and the faces in his chest and shield simultaneously freak me out and intrigue me. Raid has prepared something special for all new players this Christmas. Get ready to celebrate the 12 days of Raid. Download Raid Shadow Legends from the links below, copy your player ID from in-game, and then go to 12daysofraid.plarium.com. Enter your player ID and then set out on a festive adventure that lasts 12 days running from December 19th to January 10th. Each day experience a new chapter of this wintry story and play a new minigame for a chance to win amazing in-game and real-life prizes, including holiday-themed Raid champions and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. And don't worry if you already play, since existing Raid players can also go to 12daysofraid.plarium.com, where you can find a special holiday promo code that everyone can use for a small festive gift. But there's more. New players use my link or scan the QR code right here and get a free starter pack with this cool in-game loot. And now MMA and pro wrestling megastar Ronda Rousey has made an exciting leap into the world of Raid with her very own champion. You can get Ronda by simply opening Raid on 7 days before February 20th. That's all there is to it. To celebrate her arrival, you can use promo code RAIDRONDA to get a bunch of useful in-game items to help her level up. Just enter the promo code in-game and all the goodies will be sent straight to your inbox. Now let's jump to Luffy's Yonko bounty reveal at the end of Wano. His bounty was 3 billion, along with Kid's bounty and Law's bounty. Yeah, believe it or not, they all got the same bounty, despite the fact that Luffy beat Kaido, the living Yonko with the highest bounty at the time, which was 4.611 billion. Seems kind of crazy since Law and Kid teamed up to take down Big Mom, who had a lower bounty of 4.388 billion. So I'm completely fine with Law and Kid having a lower bounty than Big Mom because it took both of them to do it. But to have Luffy having a bounty the same as theirs after he fought and beat Kaido alone makes no sense. Kaido did take initial shots from others like the Scabbards, Zoro, Yamato, and so on, but Luffy had a prolonged and extended one-on-one fight with him afterward, where Kaido thrived for most of it and even had enough energy to use his final technique, Flame Dragon Torch, until Luffy finally came out on top. I commented at the time of the reveal that this was because the Marines were purposely lowballing Luffy's bounty at the time, and the information we got since then definitely supports that, not to mention the fact that some truly crazy stuff has happened since then that would further justify a huge increase in Luffy's bounty. We got another clue that bounties don't actually reflect the character's true threat level when Buggy's new bounty was revealed. Yonko Buggy's bounty was even higher than Luffy's at 3.189 billion. This makes no sense knowing what we know, but if we think of the fact that bounties are a tool of the world government, then things start to make more sense. We know that the world government, and specifically the 5 elders, were upset when Luffy's bounty poster revealed his Gear 5 form, aka his awakened sun god form. Why? It was because they wanted to avoid the world finding out about the hero of liberation at all costs, because if they start to believe in Sun God Nika again and his power to liberate others, the world government's hold over the people of the world will be weakened. The Sun God's presence could inspire revolts all over until the world government collapsed. So we already see that they don't want to bring any extra attention onto Luffy. Thus, it makes sense that they lowballed his bounty too. If they actually gave him the highest bounty ever recorded, then all eyes would be on him, which they want to avoid at all costs. Some may say why give him a bounty increase at all in that case, but if they didn't, that would be just as suspicious. The world government rather chose to use bounties to make it seem like Luffy was just an equal part of a supernova alliance that included Law and Kid, and together the three took down 2 Yonko. This way, Luffy doesn't get any special attention, even though he obviously should because he took down Kaido, the man called the strongest creature in the world. Further bounties were revealed after Luffy's bounty reveal, including Mihawk's. Even though Mihawk is not a Yonko, his bounty is a shocking 3.59 billion. So very impressive, higher than 2 Yonko bounties, which again is a sign that Luffy's is too low. So we've established that bounties aren't always real. In other words, they aren't always fair reflections of a pirate's power, or more importantly, threat level to the world government. Sometimes, like in Luffy's case, they can use bounties as a tool to downplay a person that could be the key to their own downfall. So with this in mind, let's continue talking about why Luffy should undoubtedly have the highest bounty in history, and yes, I mean higher than Pirate King Gold D. Rogers' bounty of 5.5648 billion. Obviously, there is a basic power argument. Since Luffy beat Kaido, the man hailed as the strongest creature in the world. So his new awakened strength alone should accelerate him above Kaido's bounty of 4.611 billion. But it's not all about power. More importantly, it's about a character's threat level to the world government. And strength is just one factor of this equation. Lineage and connections are factors too. Luffy is already impressive, but considering he's marine hero Garp's grandson and the world's worst criminal dragon's son, it means that he has insane genes and is likely to only get stronger as he gets older, like his dad and granddad did. Aside from the genes, in the government's view, it's not a stretch that Luffy and the revolutionaries could join forces. Not only is Dragon Luffy's father, but Flame Emperor Sabo is also his brother. Beyond that, Luffy and the revolutionaries clearly have overlapping goals. The revolutionaries want to liberate the world from the world government, while Luffy is the newest incarnation of the legendary warrior of liberation sun god Nika. Not to mention he's like always liberating people wherever he goes. He is the symbol that the revolutionaries can milk more than any other, and the symbol that the world government fears more than any other. As we learn from Who's Who's story about his own experience with the story of the sun god. Even an enemy like Who's Who turned to the symbol of the sun god and subsequently had to escape prison because anyone who speaks or knows of the story of Nika suspiciously disappears, and he thought he would be next. So anyways, beyond having to include Sun God Luffy's obvious connections to the revolutionaries into his threat level, they should also include the fact that he's Garp's grandson too. And if Garp doesn't go out of his way to help Luffy, which ultimately he might, they can at least be sure they can count on Garp, one of their strongest fighters, to take down Luffy. And while we're on connections, let's just point out his connection to Shanks too, the current Yonko with the highest bounty. This connection is not irrelevant. In fact, Shanks stepped in and helped Luffy multiple times, including at Marineford and when he scared off Admiral Green Bull recently. They are arguably rivals in the race to the One Piece, yes, but one cannot ignore the fact that Shanks has been an ally to Luffy, and attacking Luffy could mean dealing with Shanks too, and awakening the Red Hair's wrath. Mihawk himself commented on how Luffy possesses the most dangerous ability in this entire ocean, the ability to turn those around him into allies. Now I won't go into all of his other allies and alliances, but you get the idea. If you mess with Luffy, you mess with a lot of strong people. Another reason why his bounty should be higher than even Gold D. Rogers is because Gold D. Roger was too early, as he found out. Prophecies and destiny are things in One Piece, and Gold D. Roger found out from them that he was too early to topple the world government, and if he found this out, chances are Imu-sama and the higher-ups in the world government also did. Luffy, however, is not too early. He's right on time, and the fact that he awakened the Sun God fruit after 800 years of no one doing it, and that he's the new Joy Boy, make him more of a threat to the world government than Roger ever was. Then there's the obvious fact that Luffy is the leader of a Yonko crew, an amazing Yonko crew, and threat level is not just about individual power, but takes into account that person's influence, which obviously includes their crew. Luffy now has 3 other characters on his crew with bounties over 1 billion, including Zoro, Jinbei, and Sanji. And not to mention, Robin is really close as well. Big Mom only had Katakuri, and yet her bounty was so much higher than Luffy's. Not to mention the fact that, like Luffy beat Kaido, his crew members beat all of Kaido's strongest commanders. Clearly, any way you look at it, granted, the 3 billion berry bounty was criminally low for Luffy and made no sense except as a means for underplaying him and not drawing any extra attention to him. But since that reveal, Luffy has continued to build his notoriety. He now appears to have joined forces with fellow Supernova, Jewelry Bonnie, and more importantly, with Vegapunk, the best scientist in the world and the one who created the pacifistas, including the overpowered Seraphims based on the Warlords, Momo's artificial mythical zone Devil Fruit, and many more game-changing things. Vegapunk is viewed as being so dangerous that the Marines were about to end him while protecting his technology and greatest achievements so that they could use them to maintain their supremacy and make sure that no one gets similar technological weapons or finds out the weaknesses to them if they do exist. Luckily for us, Luffy has already agreed to take Vegapunk on board. He also outclassed and awakened Lucci in a short fight, although he left before Lucci was actually down for good, so we may see a rematch soon. We know that the Seraphims in a way are seen as the pinnacle of Vegapunk's science. But as long as Vegapunk is with the Straw Hats, these ultimate weapons are useless because Vegapunk is above the authority chip owners in the Pacifista authority hierarchy. Thus, there's a chance that the Straw Hats could recruit the Seraphims and only the 5 elders would be able to outrank Vegapunk in authority, but it's hard to see them showing up on the battlefield. Plus, they're old and potentially vulnerable, so it's only a matter of time before they may pass away too. And that's not to mention the possibility that since he created them, Vegapunk could potentially find a way to bring down the Seraphims through a weakness or other invention. However, it must be said, he will be more limited without the same funds that the world government could provide. So as hype as it would be to think that the Straw Hats could create artificial mythical fruits, more Seraphims, and more, it's hard to believe they have enough money yet to finance these things. Of course, if they find the One Piece and Luffy becomes Pirate King, which they are planning to do, I'm sure money wouldn't be an issue, and that's a very real possibility that the world government no doubt fears. And we haven't even gotten to how the government went out of their way to try and destroy the knowledge and history in the Tree of Knowledge library at Ohara. Vegapunk actually read all those books with all those secrets the government wants to erase at all costs. So as he says, all the world's mysteries that Ohara deciphered are right in his brain, where he has carried on the great work of researching them. In other words, he knows all of Ohara's revelations and discoveries and has even been taking them further himself. We've seen how bad they wanted Robin, who was at Ohara, because of what she knows, so you can just imagine how much more they'd want Vegapunk, who has all the knowledge. Then of course, as was recently revealed, Vegapunk has a close connection to Dragon as well. They actually both pretty much wanted freedom. Vegapunk's dream is to make energy available and free for all, which would be a nightmare for the world government. People would definitely be harder to control in that situation. Vegapunk just took a different approach from Dragon, the keep your enemies closer approach, and the give me more money approach. But now that his cover is blown and he's no longer on good terms with the world government, chances are, and I'd actually go as far as to say it's almost guaranteed, that Dragon will join forces with his old ally, not to mention his son, and help him go up against the world government. First though, the Straw Hats have to successfully leave Egghead with Vegapunk, and that will, it seems, require them taking down Admiral Kizaru, who is on his way to Egghead with more military might. Thus, Luffy and crew will potentially now take down not only CP0 and more Marines, but at least one Admiral. That, if it happens, and Oda is making it seem like it might, will further propel Luffy's bounty ahead of any other. Think about it, some of the greatest military weapons are the Seraphims and the Admirals, and if Luffy successfully takes Vegapunk while neutralizing the threat of the Seraphims and an Admiral, then he's practically proven that the government can't do anything to him, and that would make his threat level off the charts. So with all of this in mind, I think it's clear how Luffy's real bounty could already be 10 billion, or at least could be 10 billion berries real soon. One thing's for sure, 3 billion is a ridiculous number, and I don't see how anyone could think that's a fair bounty personally. But Luffy isn't the only person to watch. Another person whose bounty is about to shoot up is Blackbeard, Luffy's greatest antagonist and the man who is about to take on Luffy's grandpa Garp. If you want to see how it's only a matter of time until Blackbeard surpasses Shanks, check out my all 16 Blackbeard pirates and their powers explained video, link on screen right now and in the description.